Hey, I'm Justin from Cognito Motorsports. I'm going to show you a product that we make. This is a 2022 Can-Am X3. Come on a little closer here, I want to show you something. This is the back end of the car, obviously. These are the radius rods. This is the radius rod cage. The Polaris RZR has bolts going this way, going forward, to hold the radius rods to the chassis. The Can-Am X3 has studs coming out of the chassis. Problem with that, if you ever have a problem with one of these radius rods on a trail or in a race, you have to take all 6 bolts off and the plate off just to get one radius rod off. Cognito, we make a kit to change this to a bolt-in style going that way instead of studs coming out this way. I'll show you the details here shortly. Okay, so we have our radius rod plate off now. There's those 6 nuts. Pulled the radius rods off the chassis. They're sitting down here on the ground. So here's the problem. If you ever have this apart on one of these X3s, the hole in the chassis is nearly a 1/16 of an inch bigger than this stud. So this stud is 12 millimeter, and that hole is roughly 50 thousandths of an inch larger. So to get that stud centered in the hole is pretty much impossible. So you can see all the play there. It's like that on every single one. Now what a lot of people don't realize is even that little bit of play will change your camber on your rear tires. If this side's off that way and this side's off this way, your camber's going to change a bunch. I mean, it could be a degree or more. We have a solution for that problem in our conversion kit. Once we get these studs off here, we'll show you how that all takes care of these sloppy holes. Okay, so we removed this plate that was against the frame up top there. That's gone. The first plate, we went ahead and put in place on the studs and used the included jam nuts, okay, to hold this plate in place. Now the back side of these plates, see they have this reverse chamfer here. So it's a little island sticking out there that takes up the space in that sloppy hole on the frame. So it's important to have these tight, okay? Those need to be tight. Then we are going to drill through on these two to fasten this to the chassis. It will stay in place. Okay, we've used a 1/4 inch drill bit to punch through the frame with those 2 holes. You'll feel it go through that frame, and then you'll hear it hit the backing plate that these studs are attached to. So we also cut off those studs. You'll need to cut those off so that you can get that plate out because the tranny's in the way. Okay, so that's what we ended up with. That's the stock one with the studs cut off. Don't need that anymore. This is our brace plate that you saw on there earlier. Again, it's got these nubs on the back side to center up on these large holes. So it will end up right there. You can see there's no play in it. This is the nut plate. This is gonna go on the inside on the transmission side. And basically you're gonna fasten these two together and sandwiching the frame in between with bolts going through these 2 holes we just drilled. And then this is gonna permanently stay on the car, okay? Okay, so you can see our brace plate is now installed. The nut plate is on the other side of this chassis. The chassis is sandwiched in between the 2. These 2 bolts right here are holding it all together. Now you have nice fixed holes, not sloppy holes that can move around, and you have threaded holes there. That way we can convert this to a bolt type. This same operation is going to happen on the next 2 levels here. So we have nut plates and brace plates for each level, just like that. We're going to get those installed and show you the finished product. Okay, all of our nut plates, which you can't see from this side, they're on the tranny side, and the brace plates, they are now all installed and secured with these bolts in the middle, which are the ones we drilled the holes through the frame. Now we're ready to assemble our radius rods back onto the chassis and fasten everything and the radius rod plate with the included fasteners, and then you're ready to go. Now you'll be able to pull 1 bolt out, change your radius rod if needed. It'll make things a lot simpler. Plus, these holes are all tight now. You won't be putting it together, have your camber different from one time to the next. You'll have a steady camber setting so you can keep your alignment. Okay, our radius rod mounting conversion is installed now. Stock pull plates back on. These are the stock radius rods. The beauty here is if you ever had to work on this, you don't know where your alignment is. Now with our kit fastened to the chassis, it stays put. Your alignment, camber, toe, all that is going to be consistent when you take it apart and put it back together. You can find this on our website at cognitomotorsports.com. Appreciate you following along.